Have you ever wondered where we really come from? I'm not just talking about our parents or grandparents, but our ultimate cosmic origins. Well, today we're diving deep into the Vayu Purana, an ancient text that has some absolutely epic answers. We're going to witness a world born from a cosmic ocean, trace our family tree all the way back to the sun god himself, and uncover a profound duty that connects every single one of us to the very dawn of time. We're jumping right into the thick of it with this image. This is not a gentle, quiet creation story. It kicks off with a being as large as a mountain, whose roar thundered. This is cosmic rebirth on the grandest scale imaginable, and believe me, it's where our story truly begins. So, to understand that thunderous roar, we need to rewind, way back. I want you to imagine a time before time, a place where the entire universe was nothing but a single, vast, silent ocean of water. So at the end of a huge cosmic cycle, what's called a kalpa, which spans billions of years, the whole universe just dissolves back into water. And floating in this endless ocean, the great god Vishnu is resting. This is actually where he gets the name Narayana. Nara means water, and Ayana means his resting place. He's literally the one who sleeps on the waters, just waiting for that perfect moment to start everything all over again. And when that moment finally arrives, Vishnu's form completely shifts. He becomes Varaha, a boar of cosmic proportions. He dives deep into those dark waters, finds the lost, submerged earth, and lifts it right back into existence on his mighty tusks. But this wasn't just a rescue mission. He completely reshaped the world, raising new mountains and setting it afloat like a giant boat. This single act was so important that it gives our entire cosmic age its name, the Varaha Kalpa. And how do we even know all this? Well, these incredible stories are preserved in our source for today's explainer, the Vayu Purana. You should think of it less like a single book and more like a cosmic library. It's this huge collection of narratives that maps out the cycles of the universe and our exact place in it all. Okay, so the world is reborn. The stage is set. But who is going to live in it? Well, the answer to that question is complicated. It's a celestial drama that starts in the court of the sun god himself. This next part honestly plays out like a celestial soap opera. You can see the whole story right here. The sun god's wife, Sanjana, is literally overwhelmed by his intense light and heat. So what does she do? She creates a shadow clone of herself, Chaya, to take her place. And the deception actually works for a while, until Chaya gets jealous. She ends up cursing Sanjana's son Yama. And that was the fatal flaw in her plan. Surya realizes a true mother's love is unconditional. She would never curse her own son. The truth comes out, he finds the real Sanjana, and from their reunion, the father of all humanity is born. And here he is, Vivasvata Manu. Now, this isn't just some character in his story. In this tradition, he is the literal ancestor of every single human being alive in our current age. Just let that sink in for a second. This story isn't just about gods and heroes, it's our own family history, tracing our lineage directly back to the sun. It's saying that humanity isn't some accident. We're direct descendants of the divine. But this divine ancestry isn't just a cool origin story to tell at parties. It comes with a profound, sacred responsibility, an obligation that passes down through every single generation without fail. This profound duty is fulfilled through a ritual called Shraddha, and this is so much more than just a memorial service. It's an act of cosmic balance. It's a way to actively nourish the souls of our ancestors, who are called the pitchers. It's all about repaying a debt that can never truly be repaid, the debt of life itself. Now, this sacred duty isn't something you do just any time. It's literally woven into the fabric of the cosmos. As you can see here, performing Shraddha is deeply connected to the cycles of the moon. The different lunar phases act as a kind of cosmic clock, with the new and full moons being the absolute most powerful moments to connect with and sustain our ancestors. So why the moon? What's the connection? Well, the Vayu Purana explains that both the gods, or devas, and our ancestors, the pitras, are sustained by something called soma, a divine nectar that is the very essence of the moon. And this is just a brilliant piece of cosmic engineering, right? It means that our rituals right here on Earth, when timed to the lunar cycle, directly feed and sustain beings in the celestial realms. Our earthly duties have real, cosmic consequences. Okay, so if this duty is universal, does it really matter where you perform it? According to the Vayu Purana, it absolutely does. There is one place on Earth where these rites become the most powerful, a sacred center for honoring our ancestors, the holy city of Gaya. The holiness of Gaya is rooted in this incredible act of self-sacrifice. The city is named after an ancient king, Gaya. Now here's the thing. Gaya was an asura, a group of beings that are usually seen as being in opposition to the gods. But he was so uniquely pure and righteous that when the gods needed a perfect, living altar for a cosmic ritual, they asked to use his body, and he willingly agreed. His sacrifice consecrated that land forever, transforming it into the most sacred ground there is for these ancestral rites. And a pilgrimage to Gaya is truly unique, with its own very special customs. For example, the food offerings, or pindas, aren't just for your direct family. You can make offerings for friends, for forgotten souls, or, and this is remarkable, you can even make an offering for yourself. It's this incredible spiritual openness and power that makes Gaya the ultimate place to fulfill this sacred duty. So, we've journeyed all the way from a cosmic ocean to a specific city in India. Now let's zoom back out and really connect the dots to see what this all means for us, for our place in this whole grand narrative. So when someone performs a ritual like Shraddha, especially somewhere like Gaya, it is so much more than just an act of remembrance. It is a conscious act of plugging yourself back into this immense, unbroken chain of life. It's a way of saying, I'm here because of everyone who came before me. It forges a direct link from your life right here, today, all the way back through countless generations to Vivasvata Manu, and from him, all the way back to the sun god at the dawn of our age. And that leaves us with this one final, powerful question to think about. The world described in the Vayu Purana suggests that we aren't just isolated individuals, but that we're all part of a sacred, unbroken chain. So it asks us to consider, what if your life isn't just your own story, but what if it's one crucial link in a grand narrative of duty and existence that stretches all the way back to the dawn of time?